The day had a weird energy to it from the start, static in the air, the kind that hums just beneath your skin like something's about to tip. I'd woken up first, like I always do. The house was quiet, Amanda still wrapped in the sheets on her side of the bed, hair spilled across the pillow like it hadn't seen a brush in days. Beautiful, but cold. Distant. I watched her for a second longer than I should have, then got up, went downstairs, made coffee. Alone. Again. That was becoming the norm. The coffee didn't taste like much, even though it was the same brand I always bought. Nothing did lately. I sat at the kitchen table, scrolling news I didn't care about, trying not to check her texts. I didn't even want to, but I had to. Like scratching a wound to see if it still bled. She was out of bed by the time I got out of the shower, wrapped in a towel, standing in front of the mirror like she didn't even see me. She said she had errands. She said it with that same voice she's used for the past few months, the one she saves for people she doesn't plan on listening to. Emotionally sterile. Smiling with teeth, but not with eyes. That afternoon, we had to be at her cousin Haley's wedding. Amanda was in the bridal party, which meant I was stuck playing supportive husband while she floated around in that seafoam green dress, pretending not to hate everyone. She used to tell me everything she hated. Now she just wore it. The drive there was quiet. She was glued to her phone, thumbs moving fast, too fast to be casual. I asked who it was. She said Jessica. Her sister. That was the first lie of the day. Not the first ever, just the first I caught that day. I knew it wasn't Jessica. I knew Jessica was on a plane to Denver that morning. I'd spoken to her myself. Amanda didn't know that. I just watched her lie and file it away. Not because I was scared, because I needed the pattern. I needed to feel sane. When someone makes you doubt your own instincts for so long, you start craving evidence like oxygen. At the wedding, I watched Amanda all night. Not because I didn't trust her, I'd already stopped trusting her months ago. No, I watched because I was done pretending not to see it. The way she looked for him before she even took her seat. The way her smile stretched when he walked in. Travis. The gym buddy. The one I met once, tall, smug, heavy on cologne, too many teeth when he grinned. He hugged her like they shared something sacred. He didn't even shake my hand. Amanda didn't introduce us this time. Didn't even look at me when he walked up. I played along. Sat through speeches. Ate dry chicken. Drank just enough to feel brave but not stupid. I watched her float across the floor like she was already someone else's wife. And then, during the last slow song of the night, it happened. She stepped into his arms like it was muscle memory. Like they'd done it before. Not awkward, not hesitant, familiar. Her hand went to the back of his neck. His rested on her hip. Their foreheads touched briefly. She laughed at something he whispered. Her fingers curled into his jacket. Intimate. That was it. That was the moment. I stood, walked to their table where she'd left her clutch, pulled out the ring I'd taken off hours earlier and held onto like it was a dying organ. I didn't look back at her. I didn't need to. I handed it to Jessica, who had somehow shown up after all. Her face told me everything: pity, guilt, anger, but she didn't say a word. Neither did I. Then I walked out. Out of the wedding, out of the illusion, out of 7 years of slow rot that I'd been patching up with duct tape and denial. And that was how it ended. Not with yelling. Not with a fight. With a dance. I didn't go home that night. I drove with no destination, headlights cutting through dark country roads, the wedding music still ringing in my ears like a ghost I couldn't shake. I passed the same gas station twice, the second time realizing I hadn't even stopped for gas. Just circled like a dog that didn't know where to lay down. The phone stayed dark on the passenger seat. She didn't call. Not once. Not even a text to ask where I went or what I meant by handing her sister my ring like some quiet bomb. And that silence hit harder than if she had screamed at me. Amanda had become something unrecognizable, so far gone she didn't even pretend to care anymore. Maybe she thought I wouldn't leave. Maybe she thought I couldn't. Around 1:30 a.m. I parked in a grocery store lot and sat in the car for another hour. I kept thinking about all the things I missed. The moments I brushed off. The way she started locking her phone months ago. How she flinched when I walked in while she was texting. The new lingerie I never saw her wear for me. The sudden solo gym sessions that always ran late, the defensive way she laughed when I asked why. The pieces weren't just falling into place, they were punching me in the gut one by one. Travis wasn't some fantasy. He wasn't a mistake. He was the person she chose when she decided I wasn't enough anymore. At 3:12 a.m. I finally opened the phone. For unread messages from Amanda. All sent between midnight and 1. The timestamps were close together, like she was typing furiously, second-guessing every word. Where did you go? Can we talk? I know what you think you saw, but it's not like that. This isn't fair. You're making a scene. I stared at that last one. Making a scene. She dances with another man like I never existed. I walk away without a word and I'm the one making a scene? That right there, that was her in a nutshell. Amanda didn't lie with panic. She lied with calm. Smooth, cold, tidy lies. Polished like furniture she never dusted herself. I didn't reply. I wouldn't. Not yet. I drove back toward the city, back to the apartment we hadn't touched each other in for weeks, and sat in the lot again, engine running, key ready, hands stiff on the wheel. I looked up at the window. Her light was on. She was awake. Waiting. Maybe crying. Maybe rehearsing her lines. I didn't go in. I slept in the car that night. Not because I had nowhere to go, but because I needed to feel what it was like to choose distance. And it felt like the first honest decision I'd made in years. By morning, my neck ached from the angle I'd slumped into against the window, and my mouth was dry as if I'd swallowed the whole night in one bitter gulp. The sun was just dragging itself over the buildings when I sat up and looked again at our apartment window. Still lit. She hadn't slept. Good. I got out, locked the car with a hollow beep, and walked toward the building with the weight of everything I didn't want to say pressing against my spine. I wasn't sure if I was going up to fight or to leave for good. I just knew I had to face her. The door creaked when I opened it. She was sitting on the edge of the couch, barefoot, hair tied back, makeup wiped. Raw, but not ruined. She looked up when she saw me, and her first words were exactly what I expected. You're being dramatic. No apology. No panic. Just that blank, surgical tone? Amanda always knew how to remove herself from a scene and act like a bystander. I didn't answer her. I walked into the kitchen, poured a glass of water with hands that wouldn't stop trembling, and leaned against the counter. You gave your ring to my sister, she added. You were dancing with him. It was one dance, Ethan. Then why are you lying about it? Her eyes narrowed. She was ready for a confrontation, but not for that sentence. She stood, slow and deliberate, crossed the living room like she was rehearsing a scene in a movie. I'm not lying. I grabbed my phone, scrolled, and tossed it to her, open on the messages she swore were to Jessica. Jessica was in Denver. Want to keep lying? She stared at the screen. Didn't blink. Her face twitched once. Then she said it. The sentence I'll never forget. You're overreacting. You're just insecure because you've let yourself go. It wasn't just a lie. It was a hit, designed to slice beneath the ribs. And it landed. I stood there, pulse hammering in my ears, stomach turning to ice, every part of me screaming to respond. But I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just breathed in so deep it hurt and asked one question. How long? She looked away. I said, how long, Amanda? A pause. Then, flat as dead water. Does it matter? It mattered. It mattered more than anything. Not because of the number of days or nights or hours, but because of the disrespect. The ease in her tone. The sheer lack of remorse. You lied to me, I said. You turned me into a fool. You kept me in this house, in this marriage, while I what? She snapped. While I tried to feel something again. You think this was easy for me? Do you even hear yourself lately? You act like a ghost, Ethan. Like a roommate who forgot how to smile. I laughed. Quiet, bitter. So that's your excuse? I didn't make you feel special, so you spread your comfort around? Her jaw clenched. She didn't answer. I gave you everything, I said, softer now, not because I was calm, but because I was cracked. Time, loyalty, years of myself. I put my soul into this, Amanda. You gave me routine, she whispered. Not a soul. Routine. That was it. That was when I knew she was gone. Not just physically or emotionally, but on a molecular level. Amanda had evolved into someone else, someone who couldn't see love unless it came with fireworks and chaos. And I was just collateral. I left without another word. Packed a bag while she sat there, arms crossed, eyes dry. I didn't slam the door. I didn't give her the satisfaction. But I took the keys to the apartment with me. Because if she wanted to unlock new doors, she'd damn well have to find her own key. I stayed with my friend Marcus for the next 3 nights. He didn't ask questions the first evening. Just tossed me a blanket, a pillow, and a beer, then left me alone in the guest room. I appreciated that more than he'll ever know. On the second night, I broke. It was something stupid, just a glimpse of Amanda's face in a photo on my phone, one I hadn't deleted yet. We were at a lake, maybe a year ago. Her hair was windblown, eyes squinting at the sun, grinning wide as hell, and leaning into me like I was the only thing keeping her warm. And I remember thinking at the time, this is my forever. I dropped the phone. It hit the carpet without a sound. And I sat there, shoulders shaking, eyes dry because the tears wouldn't come. It wasn't sadness anymore. It was something sharper. Something that crawled under the skin and made me want to crawl out of my own body just to get away from it. On the third night, Marcus finally spoke up. You want to talk about it? No. You should. I don't want to talk about it. You handed your ring to her sister at a wedding and walked out. Man, that's not something you walk away from without saying something. I stared at the ceiling. She lied. Yeah? She lied for a long time. And I let her. I knew she was lying. I think I knew from the first time she said his name. Travis? I nodded. Marcus leaned back on the couch, whistled low. What a prick. It's not even about him, I muttered. It's her. The way she did it. The way she looked at me while she was in his arms. Like she was daring me to say something. Like she wanted me to snap so she could blame me for making it real. There was silence after that. Long, thick, heavy. Then Marcus asked something no one had dared to yet. Do you still love her? I didn't answer. I just closed my eyes. Because the truth was worse than yes or no. The truth was I wasn't sure. I loved the version of Amanda I thought I had. The woman who used to laugh into my neck, who used to cook with me barefoot in the kitchen, who once wrote a note on a post-it that said, "Your coffee smile is my favorite part of the day." That woman was gone. Maybe she never existed. And all I could think was, how did I not see it sooner? How the hell did I sleep next to a stranger for this long? Later that night, I got a call. Not from Amanda. From her sister. Jessica's voice was quiet on the line. She's saying you're the one who left her. That you were distant. That you shut down first. Of course she was. Did she tell you she's been seeing Travis for months? Jessica hesitated. She denied it. But, Ethan, I saw them. That night? After you left. I stayed behind to help clean up. He kissed her. I didn't breathe for a moment. She didn't even flinch, Jessica continued. Just looked around, smiled like it was nothing, and kept dancing. Ethan. I don't think she's sorry. I know, I whispered. That's the part that kills me. She's not. I hung up. Then I lay there, staring at the ceiling again, and realized something new. I hadn't lost Amanda. I'd just finally seen her clearly. The day I went back to the apartment wasn't planned. I didn't tell Marcus. Didn't call ahead. I just woke up, put on the same hoodie I'd been wearing for days, and drove there like I was sleepwalking. I had a key. I wasn't sure she'd changed the locks. She hadn't. The door clicked open with the same soft sound it always had. The apartment smelled different, like lavender and something artificial. Like she'd tried to scrub me out of it. Maybe she had. The couch was moved slightly, the rug shifted. A new throw pillow I didn't recognize sat where I used to keep my hoodie. It was still her place. But it wasn't mine anymore. Amanda was in the kitchen. She didn't jump. Didn't gasp or fumble. Just turned, spoon in hand, stirring something in a pot like I was just getting home from work. Didn't expect you, she said flatly. I figured. She didn't ask why I came. Just leaned against the counter, arms crossed over her sweatshirt, my sweatshirt, I realized. One I hadn't seen in months. Don't you want your things? She asked. Some. She watched me like I was something in a cage. Marcus told me you're staying with him. I didn't ask how she knew. Marcus hadn't told her. Jessica had. He's a good friend, she added. You wouldn't know what that looks like. That landed. I saw it. A small twitch in her jaw, the way her fingers gripped tighter around her arms. I never meant for it to go this way. Yeah, I said quietly, you did. Don't do that, she snapped, stepping forward now. Don't act like I planned this. Like I wanted to destroy what we had. But you did destroy it, I said. You knew what Travis was. You let it happen. You looked me in the eye and lied every day. Don't act like this just spiraled. She paused. Then, in the smallest voice I'd ever heard from her. I was lonely. I was sitting next to you every single night, I said. You just stopped seeing me. And then, for the first time, something cracked. She started crying. Not loud, not dramatic. Just slow, tired tears that slid down her face as she turned away and leaned over the sink. I thought if I just kept it quiet, if I just got through it, I could fix it before you found out. So you were going to fix it by sleeping with someone else behind my back? It wasn't just that, she said. It was how he made me feel. Like I mattered. Like someone wanted to know what I was thinking. I nodded slowly. I did that. For years. You stopped. You pulled away first, I said. And when I asked what was wrong, you smiled. Said you were fine. Said I was imagining it. Made me feel crazy. Her shoulders shook harder. She didn't try to defend herself after that. I walked past her into the bedroom. Started filling a duffel with clothes, just the essentials. Not everything. Not yet. It wasn't about what I could carry. It was about what I could leave. She stood in the doorway as I zipped it shut. Eyes red. Arms limp. You're really not coming back? I turned to her. And for the first time I felt nothing. No, I said. I already left. You just didn't notice. The days that followed were a blur of small, painful routines. I found an apartment not far from where Marcus lived, but far enough from everything Amanda touched. I didn't want to wake up to the memory of her voice or catch a glimpse of her shadow through the window. I spent hours moving boxes, unpacking, making this new place feel like something I could call home. But no matter how many walls I painted or how many light bulbs I changed, I could still feel the ghost of her in every corner. And then came the calls. Amanda's voice on the phone was a mix of anger, regret, and something else, something I wasn't ready to name. I made a mistake, she said one afternoon. I want to come back. I didn't answer right away. I'm serious, she pressed. I'll do whatever it takes. Counseling, whatever. Just let me fix this. There was a silence on my end. Because the truth was, I didn't know if I wanted to fix anything. Why should I believe you? I finally asked. She sighed. Because I'm tired of pretending. Of lying. Of being someone I hate. Her words hit me in a way I didn't expect. I thought about the nights she'd told me she was fine while I lay awake wondering where she was. I thought about the way she looked at me like I was already gone even when she was still in the room. I don't know if I can trust you, I said. I don't expect you to. But I want to try. I hung up, hands shaking. It felt like the floor had shifted beneath me. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe in us again. But something inside me was broken and I wasn't sure it could be fixed. The hardest part wasn't the betrayal or the lies. It was realizing that sometimes love isn't enough. Weeks passed with Amanda's calls and texts coming in waves, sometimes desperate, sometimes cold. She tried to explain everything in fragments, how she felt invisible, how Travis was just a symptom, how she never wanted to hurt me but didn't know how to stop. I listened to it all, not because I believed her, but because I needed to hear it to understand what had happened to the woman I thought I knew. One afternoon, I agreed to meet her at a quiet cafe. No grand gestures, no promises, just two people trying to navigate a mess neither wanted but both were trapped in. She arrived late, looking like she'd barely slept, eyes rimmed red but trying to mask the exhaustion with makeup. Her smile was shaky, forced. I'm sorry, she said before I could say a word. For everything. I nodded, sipping black coffee, the bitterness matching the knot in my stomach. Do you want to know the truth? She asked. I leaned back, bracing for whatever was coming. I wasn't just lonely, she said. I was scared. Scared of who I was becoming, scared you were slipping away, scared of being alone. So you ran. She swallowed hard. I didn't mean for it to be like this. I thought if I could find a piece of myself outside of us, maybe I could come back whole. But you didn't. No. I wanted to scream at her. To tell her she ruined everything. But instead, I just listened. Because beneath the lies and betrayal was a woman who was breaking apart just like me. We talked for hours about mistakes, regrets, and the impossible task of forgiveness. When I finally left, I didn't feel closure. I didn't feel hope. Just the heavy weight of knowing some things can never be undone. And for the first time, I understood that sometimes love means letting go, even when it kills you. After that cafe meeting, everything shifted, but not in a way I expected. Amanda stopped calling. No more late-night apologies, no more frantic texts. Just silence. At first, I thought it was relief. Maybe she'd finally accepted the end. But then came the quiet dread, the emptiness that creeps in when you realize the person you loved is no longer fighting for you. Days turned into weeks. I buried myself in work, in old friends, anything to avoid the crushing stillness of the apartment. One evening, I found myself scrolling through her social media, something I promised myself I'd never do again. There she was, smiling, laughing, with Travis in pictures that felt like punches. Their bodies close, hands intertwined, eyes shining with the kind of happiness I thought was ours. The anger flared up like a wildfire. How could she move on so fast? How could she erase everything we had with a few filtered photos? I wanted to scream at the screen, to tell her she was a liar, a thief, a scoundrel. But instead, I closed the app and swallowed the lump in my throat. Because it wasn't just about her. It was about me. About the part of myself I'd lost chasing a ghost of a marriage that wasn't real anymore. I realized then that I needed to stop waiting. For apologies, for change, for the Amanda I wished existed. I needed to start living for myself. That night, I sat down and wrote my own version of goodbye. Not to her, but to the years I spent hoping things would get better. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something like freedom. Starting over wasn't easy. I wasn't the same man who handed over his ring to her sister at a wedding, but I wasn't fully healed either. Every day was a mix of progress and setback, like climbing a hill that never seemed to end. Some nights, I'd lie awake replaying the moments. Her lies, the way she looked at me while betraying everything we built, the coldness in her voice when I confronted her. The bitterness still tasted like ash in my mouth. But other times, I found glimpses of myself again. I went back to the things I'd stopped doing, the morning runs, old books gathering dust, late-night calls with friends I'd pushed away. I started learning what it meant to be alone without feeling empty. Amanda tried reaching out again once or twice. Her messages were polite, careful, like she was testing the waters. I didn't respond. Not because I was angry anymore, but because I was done waiting for her to become someone she wasn't willing to be. I also realized something else. Forgiveness isn't always about the other person. Sometimes, it's about letting yourself move on without dragging the past behind you like a chain. So I did. I let go. Not because I forgot her or because it didn't hurt, but because I finally understood that my worth wasn't tied to her approval or her betrayal. I'm still picking up the pieces. I probably always will be. But I'm starting to see the shape of something new, something stronger. And this time it's built on truth. Not lies. Not denial. Not empty promises. Just me. Finally, me. It's been almost a year since I handed that ring to Jessica and walked out of the wedding hall. Sometimes I still catch myself thinking about Amanda. Not the woman she became, but the one I loved or thought I did. The memories come uninvited, like echoes in a quiet room. But they don't sting the way they used to. I learned a brutal truth through all this. Love can be messy, painful, and unforgiving, but betrayal is a choice. And when someone chooses to break you without regret, no amount of hope can fix that. Amanda wasn't just dishonest. She was cold, calculating, and yes, a total scoundrel. She lied effortlessly, dismissed my feelings, and twisted the story to make herself the victim. She didn't just cheat on me. She spat on everything I gave her. But here's the thing, I survived. Not because I'm strong or brave, but because I stopped letting her define me. I won't pretend the hurt is gone. It's still there, a quiet scar beneath my skin. But it doesn't control me. To anyone out there feeling like I did, lost, betrayed, broken, know this: you deserve the truth, not the sugar-coated lies or excuses. You deserve respect, loyalty, and a love that lifts you up instead of tearing you down. And if you find yourself standing in a room watching the person you trusted dance with someone else, don't wait. Don't pretend. Don't let it become your normal. Walk away, because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is hand over the ring and refuse to look back. That night when I walked out, I wasn't just leaving her. I was starting over. And that's the only thing I'll ever be grateful for.